Hey y'all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whoever you are and wherever you are. Joyous Day is for some people, it's a 3-day long weekend here in Malaysia, Thailand. Most of the part of Southeast Asia is considered a 3-day long weekend. Tomorrow is known as Wesak Day, or most probably in Korea, in Hong Kong, and also in Taiwan, they may consider as Buddha's birthday, a celebration of Buddha's birth. And to some who still do follow the Indian style of Buddhism, is called it Vesak Day. So yeah, tomorrow is the Vesak Day, and I have to wake up tomorrow early in the morning to go to the temple and do all my uh, religious rituals as I will do the prayer and commemorate his Lord Buddha. So, remembering him, not worshipping him. I might bear in mind Buddhism is guidance of what is to alleviate pain and suffering, and how to live a life that is free from pain and suffering, and to achieve happiness. Well then, about religious issues about that. Today is Mother's Day, of course. Happy Mother's Day as a day where we celebrate, and also it's a day today I went to the convention. Today there was a card convention. It's supposed to be running on Monday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was not able to go on Saturday, which I preferred to, because Saturday I have an engagement, so yeah, I have to skip on Saturday. Pity most of the golden rule is if you are interested in this kind of tradings or buying good stuff, if you go on the last day, chances are a lot of the goods are sold out. But anyway, I not so prioritize in trading cards, rarity and so forth. If I could, I'll try and get it, which I did. Get some booster packs, and one slab, I would say, a graded slab, just for my fun collection that I wanted to keep, just for the sake of keeping something nice, which I don't have a good card, of course, at the moment. Yeah, but hopefully one day I will have the capacity to invest something on trading cards. But at the moment, I still invest in banknotes. So then I met one person who actually sold me this wonderful, which is the topic of the day, the 100 yuan. Now, before I go any further, just for my personal record, as you all know, I do this as a disclaimer that I do this YouTube video not for the sake of viewers. I use it to as a video diary of all my collections. If the day I got it, I will post it, record it, and archive my collection so that I don't forget when I've got it, when I bought it, and knowing the price of it, how much I got it, so in the future my future self would know what I've got and when I got it. And since I'm using YouTube space to upload my videos as a storage place online in the cloud, it's also considered for me a plus side is to share my collection to the world. So I do this is for sharing and also for my little personal side of doing things. Mainly it's for my personal side, but I do give some inspiration to collectors out there, and numismatics inspire them to collect, especially younger generation and so forth. Either you're doing it for a hobby, or you're doing it for fun, or you're doing it for investment, whichever way, or you're doing it as a business, whichever way it is, go for it. I mean, it's still a niche of ways of collecting things and hobbies. Some people collect stamps, some people collect coins. For me personally, mainly I collect banknotes. So yeah. Yeah. What is on the news of this week? Of course, Congratulations to Pope Leo the 14th. Unexpected, but for me, it's a mixed feeling. Somewhat joyful, somewhat yet feel feel disappointed, and I still feel like a, a bad feeling, bad vibe. Having a superpower country like United States of America controlling the world, destiny. Now we have a pope that is coming from the superpower country. It's kind of off balance. Either this pope is very supportive of Trumpians people and policy for world power controlled by USA, or he is a very against it. Now some people already start criticizing he's a very woke or very uh, liberal pope, so-called very democratic pope, and so forth, very unaligned to the Republicans' feet. Some are saying that, but for me, being non-American, it feels very disappointing that it's a American-born pope. But I believe he does serve a lot of his time in South America, running a church in South America. I'm not too sure what it is. Is it Uruguay or Peru? I'm not too sure. I've forgotten about it. I didn't read through that point, but yeah. I wish him a congratulations of joy after passing of the late Pope Saint should be the same, but at the moment it's not same. Is Pope Francis. I was just hoping for a Filipino, a first Asian to be a Pope. A Filipino has a great chance because of his influence, and he failed to win. Of course, he say it is not an issue of cardinals or religious clerics would say this is a joyful day, it is not a sad day. I understand, but deep down in their bloody soul, I'm pretty sure it's a disappointment there. In there, the publicity is the joy is that finally Filipino is almost so close to the inner circle to have one of the largest population of Christians, especially denomination of Catholic in Asia, not to mention just Asia, to finally have a pope born, raised, and pursue the religious belief, God and His gospels in Philippines, in Asia. It will be a very, very powerful message, especially for Filipinos, to themselves and to the whole world. That Asia is represented equally, but we probably, because of this kind of scenario and his Taglia's age, and I don't think he would be able to have a chance. If this current Pope, 69 years old, is healthy, we would see another 10 years for him to govern and probably reach in the middle of 80s or mid 85. We will see the next conclave. With life expectancy is quite good at the moment. Who knows, he might live to 90 or probably 100 years old to see the next conclave. By that time, most of the cardinals that has been from the Benedicts is already past the age for it to be qualified to be elected as the Pope. So too bad for Filipino, because there's no future cardinals in Philippines that has the great influence so close to the inner circles of Vatican compared to Cardinal Tagle. So yeah, sad there. Didn't have a chance for Asian Pope, but yeah, myself, I'm not a Catholic, but it has a essence of pride, of the region's pride, that we have elected a leader from somewhere it belongs close to us. So yeah, that was the feeling that I had. Disappointment, worriness of the current Pope, the new Pope, yeah. So yeah, but anyway, life goes on. For you, those who believe in the depicting of Nostradamus' prophecy, this Pope is considered to be the last pope, as they might consider it, because oh no, as America superpower currently govern the country, and USA is a very terrible president against the world. Donald Trump, blah blah blah, is the prophecy is coming true, blah blah blah. You know, some people think like that, but yeah. Anyway, life goes on, as I would say. So yeah, that's the news for this week. I could recollect for this week. Anyway, let's get back to banknote. So today's banknote, I did say is a Chinese 100 yen. Of course, if you have seen my short clip video, this is a counterfeit. Yes, one of my friend got a counterfeit 100 yuan. He is a dealer himself, but he missed this note and taking it as original. He was trying to sell it, but he didn't realize it's fake, and he didn't realize when he traded with another seller to him, who sold to him anyway in past tense. He didn't realize and check that whether all the notes are genuine. So just buy a bulk, and little do we know this note is fake. Now originally, if he is original, he was thinking of selling his the pay. He was thinking of selling 110 ringgit for this note. So after today's examination and so forth to verify it, yeah, this note is somewhat not say somewhat, I can confirm is counterfeit. I want to like to use the word fake, but contemporary counterfeit. This series is 1999 series, one of the very first Chairman Mao's only Chairman Mao's version of banknote. Most of the banknotes in the old days is about the people, focusing on the socialism and the people and the beautiful landscape. Now in 1980s and 1990s banknotes, they started to print in this kind of version, where it shows the landscape of the Yangtze River, and the front of the 50 is the party's ideology of socialism. The workers, the working class, which all of them, because they're working class, including intellectuals, I consider as working class. So we have the industrial working class in the urban centers, we have the peasant working class who does agriculture, and we have the intellectual working class who do R&D and development and education, modernization of the country. The three main working class pillars of a socialist country. So they put that as their 50 note. There's 1980 and 1990 inside here. I only got 1990s for the 50. I actually got the 1980s, but I haven't bought the plastic sheet page to fill up in the file, so I missed that out. But I did have a full set of this already. The other one is the 100, which is the 1980s and 1990s printout. Now this one, actually, if you look from far, it looks like Chairman Mao's face. All four of them a different expression. Actually, there are four main communist leader of the party. Of course, the first one will always be Chairman Mao. Where we have Zhou Enlai. I kind of forgot the two of this, but if you're from mainland China who know who are these two characters, you let me know. I know Chairman Mao and Zhou Enlai. Zhou Enlai was a very close comrade to Chairman Mao, and mysteriously he died while on the way to Moscow by plane. His plane just crashed. Now some people say it was conspired, somebody trying to assassinate Zhou Enlai, because Zhou Enlai was preparing to defect, or he's probably going to betray Chairman Mao. Quite dramatic, I would say. And somebody was planned and plotted to assassinate Zhou Enlai, and successful, of course. The plane crashed, and the government in China at that time considered it as an accident. Whether it's true or not, no one knows. Only the people who conducted the refiling report of the crash would know, and they would remain silent so long as the Communist Party governs China. So yeah, that's the kind of story that you can tell from that. Oh, another good thing is, even in 1980s and 1990s, I did say previously video that China was very good for those who are disabled, especially visual impairment. In 1980s, beginning in 1980s, they start using international braille. See, this is a braille 100. They use the international braille, universal braille. Nothing like the design that you say there's a symbol here, say that is 100 or 200 like the Japanese or even Malaysian one. The Chinese one, they just use braille according to what the universal language for of the braille system. So if you're a French blind man, or you're a Spaniard blind man, or you're English blind man, or Russian blind man, or an Arab blind man, when you read through this, all of them actually know this is 100. I like that system, what China did. Okay, I like this system. From 1980 till today, all their banknotes use universal braille language. Nothing fancy on there, using the symbols and location left or right and all that. Like many other countries are doing it to make it visually look beautiful on their banknote, or whatsoever they're thinking is a security feature and all that. But it confuses people. You know, why you want to confuse people? Get to the point. And they already have universal braille for blind people. China just use it. And I think this is a superb thinking from them, thinking as universal. Okay, so good points on there. Since 1980s, before even I was born, they already used their system. That is sheer brilliant. You know, even you look at it, even the old 50s here, there, 50. They have braille system at that time, and they're using it. So yeah, good point from there. Now, all these notes I didn't buy. I got them from my parents who went there during the times in the early 80s and early 90s. Late 80s or early 90s. They went to China when China just started to open. They went during the China where the leader was Deng Xiaoping period. It was the beginning decade where China is opening up to the world for economic prospects. Today China is totally different. So yeah, I got the 1980s, which is the rare one, and the common one 1990s. This note you still can get it for a very cheap price. You know, in a good condition, probably you can get it around 300, 400 ringgit, about $100 for this note. Is still cheap to be considered. But the 1980s is more expensive, probably around $600 to $800 in a very good condition. Uncirculated, probably will go about $900 to $1,000. These are much more rarer. Of course, the rarest one is the 50 1980s. They're much more rarer than 100. So as time goes, these notes start to become obsolete, and knowing that they're designed, they started to approach a much more uniformity on their banknote. That's 1999. They came out the first only Chairman Mao front, and that's it. That becomes up to today the standard of the banknote. In the past, since 1948, there have been test trials on different type of banknotes to use as spreading ideology, using the people, using the factories as modernization of the country, blah blah blah, and the banknote. Now the country has already reaching a pinnacle point of globalization. The universal system needs to apply. Many countries does that, like Great Britain. They use the king. Now it's King Charles III. All the front banknote is King Charles, or previously was Queen Elizabeth II. All of the front is the portrait of Queen Elizabeth. If you see in Malaysia, we have the first Yang Di-Pertua Agong, Sultan or King of Malaysia, all in the front of the banknote, unchanged. It's kind of permanent there as a way of telling that banknote is specifically in what country. So yeah, so China uses Chairman Mao as their founding father of the country, and the first leader of the Communist Party to be in the first front portrait, and only him. And I've already explained pretty much of this note before, so I'm not going to dwell on it. As you can see, they still use the browser. Now a little bit more visual design, but they still function the same way. 1 0, 2 dots here is 5, 2 dots vertically, and L. This L is actually means 3 dots. Sorry, you can't see. 2 dots here and 3 dots here, but they make it design visually, it looks like L. But actually on the Braille system, they actually still can read as 2 0. So yeah. Now move on to the next one. 50. I think I've explained it before, but I'm gonna re-explain it again with this note. This is the original 1999 50 yuan, and this is the fake 1999 50 yuan. Fake one, but there is a link between this one, and I think there is a way the same counterfeiters who does this note in 1999 series. These are all counterfeits. These two are counterfeits for 1999 series. I haven't encountered a counterfeit for 2005, and the latest one, which is, if I'm looking at 2015, they have updated the security feature of their banknote, so they have to change that series of the year of the banknote. So the 100, they already have 3 series of it, including the 50, they have 3 series, and so forth. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about this, the 1999 series, because this is a relationship on the contemporary counterfeit note. Now, first thing, look of the note that I feel weird. Now I think I want to zoom in closer to the note itself, so at least you can see what it is. I'll go closer, so we know what we are talking about when we're doing study. I'll turn off this light. I don't need this one. So the glare. There we go. Comfortable. So yeah. Few feature that I don't know whether for you viewers out there is justifiably, are you justifiable can see it, but for me I can see it because I can look directly close, but I try my best. I'll try my very best. First thing first, the serial number. Now the original serial numbers, they're all aligned together. They're all aligned. Now it is considered, this is FH. I got this version on FH. This is 02, this is 03. The bottom one is 03, the top one is 02, and the other one's, no, I got it somewhere else. That's GF. So FH is not so far from mine, is OF. So this is a little later version of it. But if you look closely in the serial number, the OF and the 2 and this, and the number is just way off. As exactly what I spell. They are not kind of aligned. They're not kind of aligned together. I don't know whether I can do something wrong with something wrong with it. I can't. It's too blurry. Can't see it. Anyway, the alphabet, the prefix, and the number, they don't align. They're not aligned. They're offset too much compared to the original one. They're not so offset. Okay, that's one thing. The other one is this. The intaglio print. Okay. Now the intaglio print, if you look at it from far or just one glance, look like this. They look similar. Especially when you just take it from your wallet and then you pay the man like this. They look similar. Okay, but of course when you glare it like this in your own eye for a long period of probably about 10 seconds, you can see the difference, especially the hair details. Now when you do intaglio print, you can do a lot of linings. The purpose is because it's difficult to imitate it in intaglio print, especially when you use printers and flat print. They don't have the fine-tuned points that the needle etchings of the plate to produce intaglio style print. So the hair has a lot of follic lines and so forth. This one was just drawn very flat. See how dark color, and there's no detail linings. You can see I can't see anything, and everything is the color is all very dark red compared to the original ones. You can see the fine hairs details like whitish areas and so forth. There are many lines. This is just blank red across it when you look at it in long enough, and when you feel it, it's actually flat. But if you touch the original one, even the hair, they're supposed to feel the integral inks embossed out from the paper. You will feel the lines here. Not much of the face because they're a lot bright. The brighter the area, the less you can feel it. But there is lines around here, the eyes, the nose, the details here. But the most is with the hair and the shirt, the color. Now, most percentage of people in China, when the transaction, they will tend to feel it, and the most broadly they will touch is the shirt, the collar. So when I touch the collar on this counterfeit here, you feel embossment. It does emboss, just like what it's supposed to be for integral print. You do feel like it's, there is rich, bumps across the like linings, okay, like linings. But actually, if you look under the light and shade in detail, they're actually dots, small micro dots being punched through a little bit here, so that the paper has become dots here. I can see it under the proper light. You can see lines going straight down like this, going down, following the line, but actually it's not supposed to. Under the light, I can see the shades. They're going down like this. They're not going this way. They're going this direction like this, following the collar. Because people think that you just feel like this. Oh, you feel like this browser. Then when you feel it here, oh, that's another embossing here. It just lifts up the paper. You can literally see it lifting up using dots. There are dots around here going this direction, I mean, yeah, you can't see it from the video, but yeah, you can see the browsing line going this way, this browsing line going this way, but actually it's not. They're following according to the integral lines. So when you feel there's a lot of lines here, the shading of the colors, that's where the ink is thicker, and there's multiple line means you can feel it much more easy. So that is what they attempted to do in here, to have those kind of feel, making you think it's real. But what about the hair? They miss out that one on the hair part. But the hair, if you feel the original one, there's still the same bumps you can feel. Every else of the paper here, even the government seal, is flat. It's totally flat. Now, when I look at the counterfeit like this on a microscope or a magnifying glass, you still can't see the difference. You see they're original because they're actually stamped on. They're not actually using a digital print where the 3 types of cartridge of ink colors spitting in there, making a lot of dots across the line. Now when you microscope and you zoom in, you can see those 3 dots. Those kind of printers, including laser. This one, on the other hand, to counterfeit this banknote, they don't. When you zoom in, it's perfectly all red. It looks like a worn out banknote. They can justify and say, oh, you can just say it is worn off, it's flat already, because as time goes by and you rub all these intaglios, they'll come out a little bit of those inks, and then it becomes flat. That's the wear and tear disadvantage of the security feature of the intaglios. The more you use, the more it's becoming ineffective to detect is a genuine note or not, especially in these modern times, because the counterfeits, they are all flat, and the paper in this kind of condition like this, yeah, it is a possibility that this kind of notes If it's integrity or like original, they are flat. Everything else is flat. Even the word Bank of China here, the People's Bank of China, is flat. But when you see in microscope, they do look like it is intaglio print. It was stamped on. Even the words here is not digitally print out, where you can see all the dots to create black color. They are literally black, like a stamp on. So this, if you are inexperienced identifying the counterfeit, you probably will miss out this one. I would probably miss out this one. But for me, most of these kind of things, they're not 100% flat. They still have a little bit feelings there. But some inexperienced people might not know, who are not collectors of course, just treat it as 100 renminbi or 100 yuan, just taking his money. But it's actually counterfeit. The paper is also cotton, almost similar paper type actually. You know, when I see the tan wares here and I zooming in, they are very, how do I say in the word, furry, very furry. So it imitates almost perfection, this counterfeit, almost perfect. But of course things like this is flat, not really original, really flat. The color is off, the wording is off, it's not aligned. The words are not aligned. They're supposed to align at the bottom, but they are not. Look at this. The OF is offset to the top, and the silver thread is too bold color. It's supposed to be inside, so they're supposed to be light color, but this is very bold in the front and the back too. It's very bold. So that's one of the tech I felt. Now the most obvious way, I know this probably this syndicate, this will be a similar syndicate of people who counterfeit this note. They have a so-called secret way of telling the counterfeit and the real one. So here you go. The most obvious one that I did put in a small clip video is the bottom part of the note. Now if you look closely at the bottom of the note, maybe I can use the zoom. Yeah, I'll use this one, use zoom. If you look at the if you look at the bottom side, you see this? What happened to the color? And look at the top between here. Unbelievable. This gap does not exist. It's continuous, like a ribbon, like this. It's supposed to be like this, but you see at the bottom here, across the whole entire thing, that's a cut line. Now some people say, it's probably an error print from the original bag. Even that is considered as error print. Okay, fine. But no such thing, I would believe, that error print until this bad. Most of the time, before the screen through quality control, this note will be badly destroyed. This note, look at that, across the whole thing. And at this edge, this is not supposed to be happening. No banknote print of the first layer of this before they print in stamp on the intaglio print, the Chairman Mao's face. These are all the first print. This does not supposed to exist. You see this? This is jagged on one side. The ribbon does not continuous, because this one will actually continue to the second note. The bottom here will continue the second note and then comes back to up. This is where they do a termination cut line. Now what they attempted to do is, that is this thing that they were trying to do. They were supposed to cut according to this line they have already made and cut this off. They did not do that. That is the quality of the counterfeiter's failure. And their print, the ink doesn't continue and it's disappeared. Look at here, this is white. Now either they do this on purpose for their distributors to identify their notes, or is an error from their own mistake printout. Because if you look at the original ones, they are all equally distributed and clean. I don't know whether you can see it. They are all equally distributed, clear cut, clean, and no gaps. That's the quality they're supposed. And you look at this one, this is continuous, okay, and the blue is supposed to be blue color and so forth. Yep. Just gonna do another check is probably the UV. I haven't seen that one, so I'm not too sure if it's true. Just to double check. Okay, none. 1999 series. The 1999 series note, they haven't have a fluorescent. Now the notes that after 1999, that is 2005 onwards, all their notes have fluorescent on it, so making it more tougher to counterfeit. After this fiasco, which is a very short time, 1999 to 2005, is a really short time for them to change suddenly, because they noticed that in 1999 series there are a lot of counterfeits, and this is one of them. So yeah, one of the ways that the syndicate, I think it would be using, is this as a symbol. When they quickly change hand, they'll probably do it in this way. They're not going to touch here or what, they're going to cover it up like this, and this is how they indicate their notes. From their eye, they will see this is their own fake money, their own counterfeit money, and then when they get a new one, the original one, they can see it all very clear. They know the original one is all equally, but this one doesn't. So from far, you actually can see the break lines here, break lines here, or if their eyes are pointing at this one, break lines here. Probably a way to indicate the note is their fake counterfeit note, so they don't get back their own merchandise. They get back on the original merchandise they're supposed to. Back, everything from far, like now you're looking at it, it looks like very genuine. Again, everything is flat, all flat. There's no bumps and so forth. Security feature is too dark color. It's too unwell. And the microprint like this. If you can see the microprint, can you see it? Even I zoom in here, can you see it? That's right. By right, you're not supposed to see anything here, because no printers can do microprint unless it is the actual genuine printer. So let me see the original ones here. Let me bring it up. Can you see it? Yeah, much sharper. You can see the words there. They're much sharper, and you can read actually with your own eyes. If you zoom in closely across all this, you can actually read it. Fake one doesn't. Counterfeit one doesn't. So you can't read this one. No shit. What brain is there? The back one has less things to see. Now the other one, the most obvious one, if you just put it flat, onto the surface, what do you find on the watermark? Everything looks the same, so other than the colors. So now colors, we can say there is a little bit different here. Tonality, different time printing of the factory could have different tonalities. We know the fact that is happening in human manufacturing. Okay, so some might disclose that, okay, we accept the different tonalities because it's still similar. Fine. But one of the security feature that I find very annoying is the watermark. You notice the watermark when you lay it flat. Watermark, when you lay it flat, you can't see nothing. You only can see what is on the printed surface, which is lines of red lines here. This is the original one, suppose. Now when you look at the counterfeit, obviously you can see Chairman Mao's watermark face. If you put it under the light, yes, Chairman Mao's face is very, very alive and well, and there, very detailed. Wow, fantastic. But when you look at the surface, you can still see Chairman Mao's face. Whereas original, you don't see Chairman Mao's face when you lay it down on the surface, and when you put it under the light, let me try to get it here. You can see the detail of the Chairman Mao's face, and it's much more. Oops. Let me drag it back down. Then zoom in. You can see Chairman Mao's face in great detail. In great detail here. Almost similar. For untrained eye, for normal use of the banknote, they will say it is original. Of course, the watermark size, comparing this original one, the original is bigger. This is actually smaller size. If you look enough of the Chinese banknote and you use it daily, you will notice that the watermark is something off. The size is smaller compared to the original one. It's bigger than this one. And then when you put it on the surface, it glows out the watermark. Now the problem for this note, that time when they counterfeited, they are not able to make the paper to have the Chairman Mao's watermark. So what they did actually on this note is they planted a surface. I'm not sure whether you can see it. If you can see it, it shines, it glitters. And that's not supposed to happen. It glitters. Let me see again. Yeah, it glitters. It's not supposed to. Everything else in details, they get it. They probably got it very right. Let me have a look again. Yeah. Let me see again. Sorry, one moment. I think I found something new. Yeah. Oh no, they got that right too. There's a symbol of yuan, the Y and the double line. They even got that one right in here. Yeah, they got it even that one right here. The counterfeit is very good. I would say I give a compliment for this note who made this counterfeit. They got all the details right here. Very good actually. But even right now, not under the light, it's on below the light. You still can see Chairman Mao's face. This is actually surface planted of the Chairman Mao's watermark face. That's why you can see the watermarks on the light, not under the light. Now under the light, it will be much more sharper. Looks like it is a watermark, but if you look when the light is on top, you still see the shape of the Chairman Mao's face where it's not supposed to, and it's supposed to be like red color here with a symbol of yuan here and a circle here, which they imitated that correctly, the patterns. But the color, of course, is a little bit toned down. Again, some people might say tonality, fine, but the watermark, no. When you look under the surface like this on the light, this yellowish thingy, it glitters. I don't know whether you can see it justified, but it glitters. Basically, they spray something on top of it that sticks to the paper. Watermark's supposed to be in between the papers that creates their watermark, and the surface is clear with the printing. So this is overlapping it really badly. Another indication is actually this very unique thing to do. Half of the image is here, the other half is on the back. When you put it under the light, it makes a circle and a square in the middle. That is a symbol they're supposed to do, and they are actually going to be equally same and match. I don't know whether you can see it from the this video under the light, but I'll try my best to make it justifiable if I can. There you go. Yeah. Can you see it? Equally distributed between left and right. The circle the square here, they meet and match. They're supposed to. This is one of the security feature against counterfeiters. Now, if you care to look on the counterfeits, whether you justify, let me see that. There you go. There you go. I can see it, so I'm not too sure whether you can see it. Voila. Can you see that? Voila. See the left side of the blue? That is the front, and the back is supposed to be red. They don't align. And the center they're supposed to be is 2 block square. The back one is supposed to be the back one is supposed to be red, and the front is supposed to be blue. They don't match. They don't even match. They don't align. Actually, they are one up, one down. The blue is bottom, the red is at the top. Whereas the original one, they're supposed to match equally, like the ancient Chinese coins, the empire coins. They're supposed to be that. So this is one feature. But to be honest, when you're doing a daily transaction, when you're the cashier, they don't look for this. They don't look for this kind of things that I just said. That's why the counterfeiters compensate that. So the counterfeiters actually try to compensate that, to keep their costs down on imitating the note. So they're figuring out what normally, when you go to the cashier, when you pay the bills to people, what they would expect the first thing they look at. One of it is this one, which is quite good. The other one is actually, I turn on this light. Is this. You see that? Another one that I noticed that when I went to China in those days, in 2004 period, in 2004, I went to China, and I noticed that when I paid them cash to the cashiers, all the cashiers, including the fast food restaurants like KFC and McDonald's, they have the UV light detectors. So if you look at it, you can see the gold color 100 there. Now the original is very bright. Now you look at the fake one, they too glow, but it's not as bright as the original ones. It does glow. You can see it's yellowish there. It's like pale glowish thingy there, but it's really obvious. You see, on the surface you can see it. It's really obvious they painted on the surface for it to glow, to make it UV, because they found the material that makes UV glow, which you can get it anywhere actually, especially like party shops and so forth. You can get this one even in this color, and it glows gold color like the original. But the original one is much more unique material because you cannot see it. It's invisible. On the normal light, it's invisible. When you put under UV light, it glows. That is the technology that is used by all the manufacturing of the printing of banknotes, the paper makers. So, and the ink makers are all licensed to do that. Invisible ones, they don't sell it in the market. You need a special license to do that in certain countries. But the printers, they have exclusive rights to do that as a security feature of the banknote. Of course, one of these features are one of the most redundant, because due to the supply of invisible ink and glow under UV is getting more and more in the market, this tendency become weak. Even in the 1999 to 2004, yes, you can see is in the market, especially in China, where you can illegally get this kind of ink and replicate it into the counterfeit banknotes. So this is their success. They've done that, and then when people don't realize it, when they put it under the UV, it glows. So they thought it's original. Most cashiers I go to at that period do that. Now tendency they don't, because everybody majority will be using their phone to pay, e-wallets, through Alipay and so forth. So cash payments transaction is actually in China is getting really rare, especially in city areas. Probably rural folks, they still use cash, especially like weddings and so forth. They still use cash as a symbolic gesture. The visual impact of the wedding's wealth to the bride and the groom. They still use cash in some way, but in a daily transactions to buy daily goods, to supermarkets, food, and so forth, they're now using digital. So rarely cashiers will see cash, and if you suddenly pay in a big amount in cash, it just straight away get a red flag and highlights on you, and they will check the notes whether they are genuine, because normally normal people in China don't pay large amount in cash no more. Most of it go through e-wallet. So that is the generation has changed. Probably that's why nobody is lucrative enough in business to do counterfeitings compared to 1999 to 2004. Now they wanted to say it about linking this note. This is the last part of it. This is the original 50, this is a fake 50. Now I got this fake 50 when I was in China. I got conned. I lost 25 to 30 ringgit. Got conned. I paid in 100 for about, I think, 25 or 30 renminbi or 30 yuan. So I don't have small change, so I paid in the only currency note I had denomination was the 100 yuan. So he gave me back in good faith. I didn't see again. You don't see it because you're doing transactions as fast as you can. You don't see it. Even myself, when I was young, I don't see it. So long I can see there's a 50, big number 50 there, and another 20. I remember the other remaining balance is 20 yuan banknote. The brown color one, like this one. So I get back 70 or something like that. I remember something 30 or 25. Got back the change. When I got onto the tour bus, I look at this note. I found something very funny of this note. Really funny. Because the more I look at this note, the more I got weird. And now I found the 100 one, and I compare this to, they have the similar situation. This note is flat, you don't feel anything, but you do feel it in color. Now this color and this one is a bit different. Here they do it, the dot lines just vertically going down this direction, and here going this direction, whereas this one, the bumps are more equally distributed across the colors here. All of them here has all the dots, and you put it under the light and you look at above the light here, you can see the shine on the surface. All this started to see the shapes of the bump, like this type of circle bumps all across the collars and the shirt. So it's very consistent uniformity, including this one right now. I see the uniformity is going this direction only, but they're not uniform across the whole thing. Okay, so probably the printing is slightly different, but the way of detecting the note probably is the same syndicate. That's what I'm trying to say. Probably is the same syndicate. Now they can't replicate here similar to this one because they're ribbon systems here. They can't do that because it's pretty obvious. So they pick the most difficult part of the note to check, where people rarely check, and the syndicate or the distributors themselves can see. Now if you look closely here, let me zoom in there. Can you see that? Notice the lines of those triangles. Notice the line of the triangle. Yeah. And notice here is a breaking point here. They're not continuous. They suddenly reappear a square. That's not supposed to happen. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. If you look at the original one, See it? Clear and cut, because it's a continuous note from the left to right. So even a fake one they attempt to try to do it, is quite a big blunder. But I don't think this is their mistake. They do this as a secret message to the distributors. Okay, this is one way of telling the distributor they will hold the money and they'll actually focus just on this one. If it's something like this, jagged out like that, probably they would know this is the counterfeit. They're not original, because original notes don't have that. You see that? They don't have that thing. Well, the fake one does. You can argue the color. They will say, you can say this is different color from the original, but they say tonality. It could be. But this type of mistake from a bank and issue out as a print, this is impossible. This is totally impossible. This is not integral print with the plate etching plate and doing distribution. No, this is not. It cannot be. You want to argue this one as saying this is the last piece of the paper from the side there and do it? No, they don't even do that as a printout. I haven't seen any bank make this kind of mistake on the printer for banknotes. This is deliberate. So this is deliberate print for the secret message. Again, here there's a lot of dots here, as I said. So yeah, the back 50. The back 50, yeah, pretty much is similar. It's similar to the original 150 at the top. Different wise, again, very difficult. Another one, of course, the big mistake. Big mistake is this one. Again, is this? They're not aligned. One side is bigger than the other. It's actually overlapping on the left. It's actually overlapping left and right of the color. So original they don't, and they're much more. They're much more broader. I would have. It's difficult to bring the camera there, so I'll bring it to you. See, the original one is much more broader, much more clearer, much more broader and clear, as you can see here. Yeah. You look at the fake one. Ta-da! It overlaps. The one at the back, you see, even the middle square, they don't even meet. Look at it. It's gaps in between. They overlapped it. The paper is difficult for them, especially if you try to counterfeit. They can't match back original one correctly. They can't align it. No, they don't have the machine calibrated to align the paper at the front and the back print. Whereas the printers in China or banknotes printers across the world can do it. Like Gabic, Thomas de la Rouge, they can do it. Even BEP can do it. Bureau Engraving and Printing in America, Canadian banknote printing. But this one, you do a cottage industry print, this is really bad print. Ooh, that's how I indicate that is a fake one. So this is a 50 fake, and there is the 100. Now, I know it's fake. This one I got it because of my own being the victim. This 50 is deliberate. I'm the victim of getting the fake one. If I wasn't a victim, I would never got this note. But now I have 100. I saw 100. I feel like this too will be. I kind of think of today that I already verified it's fake. So I was thinking, why not I collect this series as a contemporary counterfeits? You know, I don't really appreciate to collect and pay for counterfeits, but yeah, I tried to. So this guy was trying to sell 110 ringgit as an original. He didn't know, not his mistake. He's not trying to con me. He didn't know. Once I elaborate that this is a fake one, he was already in lost money because he paid more than the face value of the currency. He paid around also $100 because it's 1999. He didn't look even in great detail. So what I explained to him today, this note is actually a counterfeit in 1999 to 2004 banknotes. This 1999 series, there's a lot of counterfeits in China. So if anybody see this kind of notes, this kind of series, they tend to see they are avoiding to collect these notes as payment. They avoid, or they look into it more detail whether it's counterfeit or not. Now knowing these features and so forth, they will actually look into it more in great details. The banks, the merchant, cashiers, they'll look even more detail. So it becomes, this counterfeit became redundant. You can't use the same model to cheat or con the people in today's world, in the 2025 year. So these are the contemporary, I would say these two are contemporary counterfeits, one of my only few collections. I do have a America's counterfeit, graded by TQG. I mean, not graded, it's more like verified as counterfeit. They put a category as CT, counterfeit. In their grade, they don't give numbers because it's counterfeit, but they do verify it as counterfeit. Now I have another counterfeit. That one is from TQG, verified by them. It's actually a United States banknote. Now, among all the counterfeits that I'm actually wanted to have, but I'm not looking for it. If it comes to me, if anyone knows it, I would actually consider buying it. I wanted to have the North Korean super note counterfeit. The most hardest to identify counterfeit banknote in the world, I could say, in the world. Other than polymer, of course. Plastic ones, Euro and Great Britain might have suffered greatly on that one. But I think they still can identify which is fake and which is real quite easily. But the super note, $100 printed by North Korea, those notes was exactly close to the original. Because why? They got the same printing machine, they got the same material, probably. They got the same paper quality, probably. Till today I do not know how to detect identifying that as a North Korean super note, because I mean they call it super note because it's super high quality counterfeit. It is almost original, and they actually use the lithograph. They don't use lithograph, sorry. They use intaglio print. They have the plate. They use the plate to print the note, so it looks and feel original. The ink may be slightly different because the ink color is quite exclusive to the BEP. They have contracted some another private company, and they can only sell to BEP for that type of color notes to be sold in the market, which is only one purchaser and limit to only one purchaser only. The papers, similar thing, is only manufactured by one. But the thing is, counterfeiters have already found ways to make the paper look like original. A lot of banknotes, similar cases, is they use the papers. They found a similar texture, feel of the paper, coming from telephone books. You know those big telephone directory books? Those papers were actually very close to making banknotes. India con artists have done it. Con artists have done it. I don't know whether they upgraded the system to identify the paper, but in North Korea they can mass produce that in a higher grade quantity because they are not in a clandestine little cottages are doing this. They're doing it as a industrial complex. They are freely able to do this without any secrecies from their own government, because the government is actually printing it. So I actually wanted to have one North Korea super note. I know it's counterfeit, but it's actually genuinely made from North Korea. The super note. Is I just want to have one of those notes in my collection for a contemporary counterfeit. It's like a history of finding out as fake money. But at the moment, I have two notes that is to highest denomination 1999 series 100 yuan and 50 yuan contemporary counterfeit notes. The similar problems, similar secrets. They are all kind of similar notes to fool people. So yeah, these are the two notes, and it will be in my collection. They're worth zero, of course. In monetary value, they're worth zero, but it is a complimentary collection. Now, I did bought the person who actually disappointed in this. I actually bought it from him, of course. Now, originally I wanted to buy from him at very, 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 very rock bottom actually, but anyway, he kind of begs that he's already losing a lot of money there, asking for help, So okay, he has bumped it up to 60 ringgit. I say 60 is almost same value as the original face value. There's no point for me to get that. So eventually I get it to 40 ringgit. So there's a loss for him in face value is 20 ringgit, but for him is a loss of nearly 70 ringgit for him. Making it, I sold it to me for 40 ringgit. To me, it's below the face value. I mean, it's fake, for God's sake. So yeah, I don't mind paying him extra. It's a pity. This one I was the victim. I got this one in face value of 27 ringgit at that time. I was the victim, so it's a face value. I didn't pay extra, no literal, just that you're a victim on the face value. So yeah, there you have it. These are the two notes that I've got for today. And a little bit, just a glimpse, probably I'll just do it tomorrow, not today, is that the two notes. Other than that, I got this one from the slab. I got it for a better slab. I got it for a good price. I got it around for 220, 230. But of course, this is quite it says ultra rare, but I just wanted to have one that notes that is nice, pretty, cute, and is PSA graded slab, mint 9 out of 10. So yeah, again, if it's 10, it probably worth 1,200 or 900 to 1,200 ringgit if it's 10. But again, the dramatic drop in cards is from 10 to 9 is dramatic. It's very hard to get 10 out of 10. So I'll just review that tomorrow. And I just got some complimentary booster bag. I got this one quite cheap actually. So yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. And the new one that I'm very, very interested is Team Rocket. Now the Japanese one they have already issued out, so the English one haven't. So we have to wait for the English one. I bet the English one will be getting more expensive than the Japanese one. And the card value, the English one is more expensive than the Japanese one. But I was very hopeful to start collecting this series, Team Rocket. Again, Team Rocket, Dark Pokemon is kind of one of my favorite Pokemon design. I hope they actually have good Dark Weezing again. Now my favorite Pokemons creatures, you might call it, is my favorite one, not Pikachu, not that one, is actually Weezing. If you look at the original show of Pokemon, James, Jesse and James, James Pokemon is actually Weezing, from coughing to wheezing. So Weezing is actually one of my favorite one. Is uniquely attached to me since I was a kid. But sadly, Pokemon card tradings, Weezing cards there has no ultra rare and so forth. That is fantastically worth thousands of dollars and so forth. Not compared to Charizard and Mewtwo and so forth. Those cards are enormously huge, or Vaporeons, Umbron EX cards. Those were thousands of US dollars. Yeah, it's not one of my favorite Pokemon. I wish I have one of those Pokemons. One of my second favorite card other than Weezing is probably the original Lugia card. The first card Pokemon that I've had is with all the power elements there that you need to actually activate his attack. Those cards are very expensive. It's one of my favorite design cards. Yeah, anyway, I don't have the money. Most of my money is in here. Money by old money and by fake contemporary money. Can't believe I'm talking about today my first ever video I made talking about fake money or contemporary counterfeit money. But these are the two very official counterfeit monies that I've got in collection. Now in this series 1999, I don't think they are actually printing smaller denominations. After the 50 yuan is 20, the 10, and then the 5 and the 1. I doubt they print this ones to conduct it as contemporary counterfeiters. The counterfeiters will do the big notes like the 50 and 100 to actually make profits. So I don't think there is any of this smaller denomination is counterfeits. Probably I could say this is a complete set already of a fake counterfeiters notes. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. So there you have it for today. Thank you very much for you guys watching all this well for almost 1 hour. If you have any comments or anything to share knowledge, I always say sharing is caring. Knowledge especially, the more informations for me or so forth, do type in a message, do give me a comment on there, anything, and subscribe if you want to see future videos. Give me a like and so forth. Blah. Up to you guys. Again, my disclaimer is I do this for my own education and educate numismatic across the world and inspire young numismatic to, pick up this kind of hobby or pick up it as investment to conduct it for, yourself. So, thank you very much for today, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Happy Vesak Day and happy Mother's Day.